Welcome back to Communication Makeover. Thanks for sticking with us. We're going to jump back into our episode. Todd is working Jason Mollica, a professor at James Madison University, through a framework. Jason wants to embark on a podcast, and Jason is now understanding what that journey is going to look like and the purpose behind it. So have a listen.
Hey, Jason. So I'm excited about where we're at here. And by the way, as we walk through this, anything that I suggest is just a suggestion, and it's just like something for you to try on. But it's really just a spur thought. You are 100% in control. And as we walk through this coaching session, if I say anything or bring anything out that kind of makes your pulse pound a little bit, I need to know that. That means we're on to something. So if you when we're on the right track, you're going to feel it. And so I'm going to need that feedback from you as well. So far we talked about this is a give back. Giving back and helping more people see these valuable people that you've seen in your career and you've heard from them, helping more people see that. You talked about the funnel aspect of people that are in the broadcasting industry, whether young, whether old. It sounds like you're wanting a community that can last and go further than that. You said this is not a selfish thing. You're not looking for attention. This is actually a give back scenario. So as we laid that out, how did that feel? Just talking and just seeing those parameters just kind of come in a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole thing about giving back has always been part of my fabric anyway. I've always wanted to be someone that remembered those that were so generous to me in coming up through both television, radio, public relations, then teaching, that if this is a way to sort of tell stories, but also give back to people and give back to a greater world in a sense, that's what I want to do. And again, I while I still have a lot of contacts in the broadcast industry, it's also public relations, and it's also teaching people that have come across and had the opportunity to both students and in many ways now the students that are working professionally, they've made an impact as well. And I want them to continue to see how they've impacted me, but how they're continuing to impact the world around them now as young professionals.
Now, you kept saying impact. Is that a critical word in this situation?
Yes. Yes. I don't want it to be just I don't want anything to be sort of run of the mill, as they say.
Yeah.
Again, and I don't want it to be forced impact.
You mind going on a little adventure with me?
Absolutely.
This is a podcast that's going to last, and it's going to have some length to it. That's one of the things you're looking for. Mm-hmm. Let's go 15 years down the road. 10 years, 15. Let's go. This thing is well established. It's been going on. I mean, this thing is so established you could pass it on to your kids. This is something that it has a life of its own, whether you're there or not. If you're on the outside watching that, what are people experiencing? What's the impact that they're like, I can't wait for the next episode? What does that impact look like? What are they getting?
I'm hoping that they're able to see and they've heard that I'm just as passionate about talking to these folks, whatever career field they're in or whatever industry they're in, that I want people to feel like they're there as well. They're watching, they're listening, but they feel like they can get that energy in a sense.
So they're getting a transfer of passion?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
In a lot of ways.
Okay.
I think anytime and again, I'm not saying that I'm inspiring everybody, but it's more of, I want people to feel that passion, like they've been inspired to do something. I think in many ways,
they got their
lives,
like they got their tanks filled up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They may start their day and feel like, okay, I'm not essentially sure where it's going, but then maybe they hear the podcast and say, okay, that gave me a little bit of a jolt and I got a little more juice and now I can continue to add to that tank, as you say.
Okay. I like that. Anything else as you're looking at that 15-year version, anything else you see that's taking place in there that you're like, oh, that's really cool that's happening?
I have two teenagers, and one of which is a freshman in college now, and she's embarking on a communications degree.
Yeah.
Would I love it for her to hear this and realize that, it continues to maybe inspire her or inspire. And yes, absolutely. I could see that as this goes on, I'm hoping she looks at that and can see ways that, maybe she decides to share with her friends, and then it reaches a new audience or something like that. So again, I really want to continue to see how this, kind of gives back in some way. I know I keep saying that, but it does. It's important. I want it to give
Yeah.
back, and I want it to inspire in some way where people can feel like I can go back to the first season and still get something out of it, as opposed to it's season 10 and it doesn't sound stale. It continues to be something where the
Okay.
stories are maybe similar sometimes, but they're not always similar.
Okay, I got you. So I heard you say three criteria there, and you tell me. I want to echo those back. You said it's current, that this is current. It's relevant today. That's a criteria, and it's something that hands passion from one person to another, and I heard you say something that fills people's tank. Would you add anything else to those three?
I think it would have to be something where people don't get. It sounds weird, but I mean, I don't want people to be bored. I
Okay.
think there's always, we all know that people's attention these days are all over the place, and it's whether it's the society or whether it's just their lives. They have a lot of things going on. I would never want someone to feel like if they downloaded or they watched wherever it is that it was, oh wow, this was a waste of my time. I
Yeah.
wanted to at least say they can listen for 10 minutes, pick it up later, and still feel like I want to go back to that.
Okay. I'd like to camp on one of those phrases just for a
Sure.
second. The empty tank. So still stay 15 years down the road with me. What is emptying their tank that makes them need what you're offering? What are the forces that are kind of against them that lowers their whether energy level, empties their tank? What's emptying their tank? This
Well,
creative broadcast PR, that type of person.
I think in a lot of ways, sometimes we reach points, and I think everybody has reached a point where they feel a little bit drained in what they're doing. I'm hoping that if they listen to this podcast that I would put together and obviously launch, that it gives them a little bit of, again, inspiration, but also it gives them a little bit of kind of that sort of spark. It's like a jump start in many
Absolutely,
ways.
and I hear you 100%. Walk with me just a little bit.
Sure.
What's making them hungry?
I'm hoping it's the people that when they hear about who is going to be on, or when they
Okay,
read the
they're
information
just
about
curiosity. It's just okay. So like the
curiosity.
inspiration of maybe some, like you said, somebody I haven't heard before.
Yeah, sure. But it's also, I want it to, obviously times change. We don't know what
Hmm.
tomorrow will be like, what next year will be like. But that's where I also want to keep with the idea that, okay, we know what's going on 5 years from now. We could know
Yeah.
what's going on. And I want to be able to say, hey, we know this has been happening recently. I'm talking today to someone that understands that very, very well. And sure, maybe they hear something like it somewhere else, but I want them to be able to understand that I'm not doing this because I'm trying to get page views and
Right.
downloads. It's more of, I want to make sure that when people listen to it, if it's 150 people, it's 150 people that listen to that because it made them feel like they could then take the next step and maybe inspire them to go in another,
Okay.
to kind of,
That
reboot.
I like something you said there. It enables them. It's people that are hungry to take a next step. So, what you know about the industry, I'd like to go a couple layers deeper
Sure.
because I think our real cause is just below the surface here. As you think about the industry, broadcasting, PR, all the different areas of your specialty, and the people you know, as the people get into that industry, what discourages them?
Oh wow! I mean, I think in many ways it's changed over the years since I first started. But I mean, I think overall, I think the discouraging point comes from when you don't feel as if you're getting you don't feel fulfilled in a lot of ways. You could be just starting out, but you feel like I've hit a wall here. What can I do? What can I be sharing from someone that whatever career field you're in that gives you an idea that, okay, you know what, I'm going to continue with it because tomorrow could be the day that I make another change, I make a change and it helps. Or if it's someone in public relations, they may feel like, wow, okay, I graduated and I don't have a job 6 months out after I graduated. That's okay, because there are things that you can do right now that will potentially help you get a job. It may not be specific to what you wanted to do when you graduated, but it could be in PR. It's just in another kind of avenue. That's what I want to be able to share with people. I want them to feel like when they're frustrated, or even if they're not frustrated, they feel like they still want to take the next step and they're excited, that we're giving them the stories, but giving them the feeling that regardless of what you're feeling right now, we're not trying to solve everything, but I want to be able to say the guest and myself, or when I start off with myself, that I've given you a little something that says, okay, I'm going to continue on because I think that moment may be right here.
So it sounds like my dad always said, he always talked about the honeymoon of show business. He said, when the honey's run out and the moon's gone down, then you realize you're in the grind of churning out videos. You're in the grind of the day to day. You're in the grind of clocking in and clocking out. Would that be a good description? It's the people, encouragement for people in the grind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one thing where even if they decide, hey, I like this career and I continue to grind, as you said, but maybe it's they're saying, I've hit that point, and maybe this is the time it inspires them to make go in a different direction. Like there may be a
Okay.
moment where they say, all right, I'm listening to this person, they're still in the business, but maybe I decide that, all right, I've enjoyed it so much. I want to take what I've learned over all this time and move it to another field where I know I can maybe make more of an impact or make a new impact in some way.
Tell me,
That's what I would think in a lot of ways too.
try this on as an outfit. And if it doesn't fit, you let me know. But it's people in the grind, helping them find fulfillment again, or
Yes.
helping them anchor to fulfillment.
Yeah. Because I think what I want is anytime I do something is I want to feel fulfilled. Yes, there are days where we all don't feel that way, but I at least want to feel like there's a nugget there during the day where, okay, this is why if I'm frustrated, this is why I continue to go back because I'm inspired. And I
So
want that for listeners too.
that phrase that I said, how would you say that?
I think it would be, in many ways, I would word it, even if you've hit that bump in the road or that roadblock, there is always something that gives you the opportunity to say, this is where I can start smoothing the road or getting through that roadblock. I may be giving you the smaller saw that allows you to saw through the roadblock to get past that rough patch. Again, it's not going to be,
It's
a
not.
jackhammer, but it could be something that at least starts the process to moving towards that next goal.
If it were a bumper sticker, what would it say?
Oh wow, it'd probably be. Um, it sounds cliche, but you don't have to stop here. The road continues.
I love that. Jason, that is beautiful. Stick with me. And we've got another segment in just a minute, and we're going to continue this thought. But now here's Deirdre.
Well, Jason has a clear impact target. You saw how coaching drew that out. He wants to pass the passion along and to fill up the tank. And that bumper sticker, that's brilliant. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.